Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol and welcome to Bicester Heritage Centre. Now I am here today with BMW and Mini UK, and finally I get to drive the Mini GP3. Now long-term subscribers to the channel will probably know the story. I actually had a Mini GP3 on order. I ordered it a year before the car arrived, before there was even a proper process to order one. And then the closer delivery got, the closer it got to actually finally making the call of getting one, the more doubtful I was. And in the end, I cancelled my order and bought the John Cooper Works Clubman over there. And today, well, today I finally get an opportunity, one, to drive that car on track. So I'm going to be driving the GP3 on track today, but finally get to answer the question, did I make the right decision? What are the main things that I think are good about the GP3? And are there any things that I really don't like? Now, I've already done a video on the channel about my reasons for cancelling the GP3 and buying the John Cooper Works Clubman. I mean, these cars share an awful lot. Underneath the bonnet, we have the same engine and the same gearbox, the same power output, 306 metric horsepower, 450 Newton meters. You know, they're very, very similar cars, but then they're not. This is a super practical mini estate car, four-wheel drive. This is a focused, lightweight, track munching hot hatch, front wheel drive. But there are some things about this car that I think we want to talk about now I've actually got one to go through and just elaborate on some of the decisions I made about why this car wasn't the car for me. So I'm going to start with some of the exterior aesthetics and the design cues of the GP3, and we'll start with the front. And on the whole, I think the front of this car has been nailed. I really do like the red accents, the slightly more aggressive front end. And I think you do need to think back to the original concept Mini GP, and the designers have tried to keep as much of that as possible. The thing I really don't understand, especially since I've recently opened up the bonnet scoop of the Clubman here to turn it into an active air intake to aid performance, I don't understand why this is still a fake. So, you know, the first thing I would do if I bought one of these is do exactly what I've done on the Clubman, because that air intake has sharpened the throttle response, give me a little bit more pep in the car, and I don't understand why that's a fake. So front end of the car, that's probably my only grumbles with it, because let's face it, they're not massively dissimilar. If we move around to the side of the car, this is where the controversy starts. Oh, now then, where do we go with this one? So let's talk about these wing fairings. On the concept car, they were massively garish, completely outlandish, and completely impractical for a road car. So I get that they couldn't be like that. But I think the way these look okay from a distance, for me, the problem I have with these is when you get up close. First things first, why this bit stops here and then you've got the normal plastic here, I'm not sure. But then when you actually look down here, they just look a bit aftermarket. And they have a purpose. It means that I can have a slightly wider wheel track, wider wheels on the car. I just think great idea, poorly executed. It wasn't the thing that, or one of the things that stopped me from buying the car, but I do understand why these cause such a kind of mixed emotion. Some people love them, some people hate them. I think the GP had to have them if we were following on the concept in its true form. I think they could have been done better. I actually quite like the material that they're made from. I just don't think they look great on the car. The final styling thing that I've got an issue with the GP3 is round the back. Now I guess the thing that dominates the rear of the car is this incredible roof spoiler, and I love it. There's no inch of me that doesn't love this. I think it's very true to the concept. I think it looks brilliant, it sets the car off, and those people who don't like it, I guess it's just, well, for me it makes a statement about the car. Awesome. However, if we come downwards, the bit I think that the trick that was missed, firstly, apparently this exhaust sounds incredible, we'll find that out very shortly, but the big trick for me that was missed from the GP2, and I've got the same diffuser on my Roadster, is the lack of a kind of Venturi type diffuser. I think there's a huge opportunity here to have a really aggressive diffuser section. Something like the kind of Challenge race car would have just looked wicked, and I don't understand why it's not there. So from a styling point of view, that's pretty much it really. I've not got a massive downer on the outside. I love the colour, by the way. But then there's a couple of things on the inside, and then we need to drive the car, because I'm pretty sure that all of these negatives will go away the second I fire up this engine and take it for a proper spin around the circuit that I've got just behind the camera. But I have a problem in here. Yes, this is the main reason why I cancelled my order. It's not the performance of the car, it's not the looks of the car. I could have lived with all of the things we've talked about so far. The main reason that I cancelled my order is this load space. Clearly there are no seats in the back of a GP3. This load space, for me, I could not live with it. And the reason, two simple reasons: there are no cargo net fixings or D-ring type fixings to secure stuff in here, especially two dogs. So I could have probably laid a bed out for the pups and they could have gone in there, but I just didn't think that that was a particularly usable space. This lovely red brace here, I mean, you can actually guess the second you start to tap it, it looks structural, but it's not. Its only form or function is aesthetics. It might stop a few things going through. So I just don't think that for me that load space would have been a usable space. And that was a big challenge for me owning this car as a daily. If it had got seats in it and a boot, it wouldn't have been a problem, I'm sure. But because it was no seats, and I know that reduces weight, it makes it more track focused. That is the mark of a GP after all. But for me and my lifestyle, big challenge. The final thing is in the cockpit, and then we'll take it for a drive. Yes, so the only thing I don't like in here, well, actually the first only thing I don't like, is I have to wear one of these, because off camera I actually have someone sat in the passenger seat. So the interior of this car is very similar Mini fare, very much like my Clubman. It's got, however, the new electric Mini dash, which I really like. However, there is one thing missing in this car for me, and that is a head-up display. And I know when I wanted to buy one and spec one, I couldn't get one. And the challenge I've got with that is, in the head-up display, you've got a gear indicator. You know what gear you're in. And I find that really useful when you're pushing on hard. So anyway, enough talking, let's get cracking. The other thing you don't have in here is a sport button. However, what I am going to do is going to just turn the traction control. You click it up once and you put GP mode in play. I've also got a hand brake, which is a bit weird. Now, what we've got over here is a very short handling circuit. It's short, but it's got some really great little corners. I have had a practice already. So I'm going to put it into sport mode. I'm going to go to the manual boxes and I'm going to give it a bit of beans. So the first thing you notice about the car is it's got really firm setup, but a really punchy front end. And it reminds me very much, see, look at that little bit of lift off oversteer. It reminds me very much of my Roadster. Now the sad thing is I'm not going to get to drive this car today on the road. That will have to wait, I'm afraid. But it's not often you get the chance to absolutely spank one of these. The turn-in is just super sharp. It's actually a tiny bit of understeer there, and then look, we've got 306 horsepower going through the front wheels. You're gonna get torque steer. You're gonna get, oh, you see, look at that. Hey. You're gonna get that playful nature, but I love that about Mini. It reminds me very much of my Roadster. The brakes are sharp. The turning is just so direct, and look, we've got relatively cold tyres. It's a very wet, greasy morning this morning. The pickup on the throttle is lovely. You just trail it in, it's just got the most fantastic feel. I wonder how much fuel I've got in the car. But I can just stay and see, look, understeer city there. You can just get quicker and quicker. It's a very confidence-inspiring car. Oh. Now I tell you now, I could not do this in my Clubman. I don't think I'd have the agility and the nimble handling. But the thing I'm missing, the thing I'm actually finding quite a challenge is you've just got to remember in your head what gear you're in, because there's no visual reminder to it, and I find that quite difficult sometimes. The gearbox in this car, we've got some mega traction issues going on there. The gearbox in this car is the same as I've got in my Clubman. It's an 8-speed flappy paddle manual. You just get the back end loose a little bit there. Would this car have been better with a manual gearbox? Without a shadow of a doubt. I think it would have been an absolutely awesome thing. But this engine has never been mated to a manual gearbox, so it would have had to be homologated again. It would have cost lots of money, and I'm afraid that's the kind of thing that auto manufacturers don't like to do. That said, the gearbox is pretty good. On the road, it's excellent. But on a track, I've not actually driven my car on the track, and it's very responsive. Oh, this corner here, you get just a little bit, come on baby. The traction control isn't too intrusive, I quite like that. Oh, those brakes are good. Oh, I wonder how long I can just keep going round and round here like a complete madman. Quite a long time, I would have thought. So what are my impressions of this GP3, having waited so long? I first ordered it in March 2019. Before the production model was out, nobody knew what the car looked like, and I put my money down. And then I cancelled it, and I can honestly say that I've not regretted that decision at all. I utterly love my Clubman. However, and there's a big however coming here, man, this car's good on track. This is a tiny little handling circuit. It's not really, you know, you put this on something like a Donington Park or an Alton Park, oh man, you would destroy things. Actually, this circuit's quite well set up for such a little nimble car. And I think if I was doing more and more track days, I think I would definitely want one of these in my garage. But I've got my Roadster. You notice I'm speeding up again. I've got my Roadster, and my Roadster has very similar handling, very sharp end, front end. I love the fact that back end plays with you. We've started to speed up again now. Yes. Oh man, this is a good car. On a circuit, it's a good car. Now, all I need to do now is get it on the road, because my hunch would be, and having watched a few of the reviews of my contemporaries, is that I think this suspension setup would be quite firm on the public road. On a track, it's perfect, but on the public road, I think. Can't turn it. Oh, that's just naughty. Now then, it would be rude of me not to literally turn everything off and just see. Oh, you see, that's way better. In GP mode, you've still got some intrusion from the traction control systems. Now I've got them all turned off. my goodness me. This thing's a complete animal when you turn the traction off completely. Yeah, so now it's down to my right foot. And just feeling exactly what the front end of the car is going to do. And if you put the throttle on and you've got too much steering inputted, you're basically going to get a hatful of understeer. But it's quite progressive. It doesn't really... Yeah, you see? Yeah, in the dry I can imagine this is an utter weapon. You just have to be really patient on the throttle, because if you apply the throttle too early, it just understeers like a good one. But then we are sticking 306 horsepower through a very complaining set of Hankook front tyres. As soon as you just lift the throttle off a little bit, they bite and they turn in. Oh no, I want one of these now. This is bad news. This is really bad news. Now then, we'll probably just head back into the pits before I absolutely have to go and buy one of these cars. Wowzers. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. Oh wow. What a thing. Now then, no, there's no regret in my body, don't worry. But, you know, even though there are things I think that maybe could have been done differently, or maybe, dare I say it, better with the GP3, the driving dynamics of that car on a motor circuit are absolutely sensational. It's a very, very quick car, there's no doubt about it. It's fast and nimble. It's got a super sharp front end, which is what I love about a car, and the kind of torque steery, tuggy, darty nature of it. For me, that's one of the characteristics I love most about my Mini. It's the one thing that when I get in my Roadster, and it kind of, you have to hold on tight, and it's an exciting, visceral car to drive, and that's definitely got it far, far more than my Clubman. On a motor circuit, it's sensational. I'm not so sure on the public highway how much I could live with. It's very firm suspension, and I'll be chatting to the guys. Sadly, the car that we've been allowed to drive out, or this week been allowed to drive on the public road, isn't here today, which is really, really annoying. So sadly, I can't take the car out on the road today. However, I'm going to have a chat with the guys at Mini and see if I can get one of these. I'd love to live with one for maybe a week and just really get to grips with it. But on a circuit, wowzers. Absolutely incredible car. And from a driving point of view, there is nothing I don't like about it. Actually, no, that's not true. A manual gearbox would be, I think a manual gearbox would be really, really good. However, the auto in there is pretty good. Anyway, I have to say a massive thank you to Mini UK for the invite today. It's been a long time coming. The Mini press fleet GP3s have been so overwhelmed since lockdown finished. It's been really difficult to tie in my time with when one has been free. Believe me, I have tried, but I've been waiting for today because I knew I was going to get to drive it today. But yeah, absolutely incredible car. Massive thank you to Mini UK. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed that one. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film, guys. But you take care. Drive safe. Now then, I'm going to go and get a coffee. I think I need to calm down.